Hey, boys and girls, it's me, your old teacher, Mr. Sanito. And I've got a book for you today. This book is called The Name Jar. Now, there's a couple things you need to know before we start reading the book. So, in the book, it's going to say that one of the characters nodded. So, this is what it looks like when you nod. You go like this, you go. And you know what that means. That usually means yes. Another thing that you'll notice, or you'll hear me read in the book, is the character is going to scrunch her nose or wrinkle her nose. So let me show you what that looks like if you haven't figured it out. It looks kind of like, it looks like this. Here's the look. It's kind of like and of course, you've seen me make that look in class more than once. So again, this is wrinkling your nose. Kind of like that, where it's like, I don't know. Maybe you might not like what you heard, and you go. So let's get right to the book. Ready? Now, in the last story we read, My Name is Yuen, what country did Yuen come from? Do you remember? She came from Korea. Now, this book is called The Name Jar. It's written and illustrated by Yang-Suk Choi. And this is Eun Hye. The girl's name is Eun Hye. And just like in My Name is Yuen, Eun Hye has just moved to America from Korea. Do you remember where Korea was on the map? Well, I'm going to show it to you again, but in a little bit different way. Hang on. Now, do you know what this is? This is a elementary school, and it's like we're looking down as if we were high in the sky in a helicopter or an airplane. But that's not where this character is from. Eun Hye is from Korea. So let's do a little search. See if this will work. Okay, you ready? Whoa! We're going to leave the United States, leave North America, fly around the world, and here we are. Whew! Oh, I'm getting dizzy, but there's South Korea. Let's go back to the book. Now that we remember where Korea is, let's read and find out what happens when Eun Hye decides to find an American name to use in her new home. The Name Jar. Look at all these names. I see Sarah, Hannah, Justin, Daisy, so many names. I wonder what this is all about. The Name Jar, Yang-Suk Choi. Through the school bus window, Eun Hye looked out at the strange buildings and houses on the way to her new school. It was her first day, and she was both nervous and excited. She fingered the little block of wood in her pocket. That means she felt it like this. She remembered leaving her grandmother at the airport in Korea. Her grandmother had wiped away Eun Hye's tears and handed her an ink pad and a small red satin pouch. Do you see that? Your name is inside, she had said. My name? Eun Hye had wondered. Again, she took out the red pouch to look at the wooden block with her name carved in it. As she ran her fingers along the grooves and ridges of the Korean letters or characters, She pictured her grandmother's smile. So remember, this is what Eun Hye is thinking, but she is on her way where? She's in the school bus going to school. And you can see that right here. Is that something for show and tell? A boy asked Eun Hye, surprising her. Eun Hye looked up as more kids leaned over. No, it's mine, Eun Hye answered, quickly putting the pouch back in her pocket. Are you new here? What's your name? A girl asked. Eun Hye, said Eun Hye. Une? The girl asked, scrunching up her face. Uni? Some kids chanted. No, Eun Hye corrected. It's spelled Unhei. It's pronounced Eun Hye. Oh, it's you hey, the boy said, like you, hey. What about hey you? Just then the bus pulled up to the school and the doors opened. Eun Hye hurried to get off. You hey, bye-bye, the kids yelled as she left. Eun Hye felt herself blush. That means her cheeks got red because she was feeling perhaps a bit embarrassed. Eun Hye stood in the doorway of her new and noisy classroom. She was relieved that the kids on the bus had gone to other rooms, but her face was still red. Aren't you going in? Asked a curly-haired boy with lots of dots on his face. You're the new girl, right? He asked cheerfully. Eun Hye nodded, and before she could walk away, the boy took her hand and pulled her through the door. Here's the new girl, he announced so loudly that the teacher, Mr. Kokotos, almost dropped his glasses. Mr. Kokotos thanked him and greeted Eun Hye. Please welcome our newest student, he said to the class. She and her family just arrived from Korea last week. Eun Hye smiled broadly and tried not to show her nervousness. What's your name? Someone shouted. Eun Hye pictured the kids on the bus. I haven't picked one yet, she told the class, but I'll let you know by next week. As Mr. Kokotos showed her to her desk, she felt many round, curious eyes on her. Why doesn't she have a name? She heard someone whisper. Maybe she robbed a bank in Korea and needs a new identity, a boy replied. Eun Hye doesn't tell her classmates her name. Why do you think she decided not to tell them? On the bus home, nobody teased her, but Eun Hye kept thinking about her name. How was school, Eun Hye? Her mother asked when she walked in. Did you understand the teacher? Eun Hye simply nodded yes. She unpacked her school bag and set the red pouch by a photograph of her grandma. I'm glad you are learning English well, her mother said. You must study hard, behave nicely, and get good grades to show that you're a good Korean. I will, replied Eun Hye, but I think I would like my own American name, she said quickly. Her mother looked at her with surprise. Why? Eun Hye is a beautiful name. Your grandmother and I went to a name master for it. But it's so hard to pronounce, Eun Hye complained. I don't want to be different from all the American kids. You are different, Eun Hye, her mother said. That's a good thing. Eun Hye just wrinkled her nose. Later that day, Eun Hye and her mother went grocery shopping in their new neighborhood. They passed Fidel's Falafel, Tony's Pizza, and Dot's Deli. A big graffiti-painted garbage truck roared like a lion as it took off down the street. Nothing sounded or looked familiar until they got to Kim's Market. The sign was in both English and Korean. English? Korean. Her mother picked up cabbage to make kimchi. That's a Korean-style spicy pickled cabbage. And other vegetables and meat. She also found some seaweed, Eun Hye's favorite, for soup. It made Eun Hye smile. Just because we've moved to America, her mother said, doesn't mean we stop eating Korean food. Yun Hye feels happy because Kim's Market reminds her of the stores she remembers from Korea. At the checkout counter, a friendly man smiled at Yun Hye. Helping your mother with the shopping, he asked. Yun Hye nodded yes. I'm Mr. Kim, he said, and what is your name? Yun Hye, she answered. Ah, what a beautiful name, he said. Does it mean grace? Yun Hye nodded yes again. My mother and grandmother went to a name master for it, she told him. A graceful name for a graceful girl, Mr. Kim said, as he put their groceries into bags. Welcome to the neighborhood, Yun Hye. That evening, Yun Hye stood in front of the bathroom mirror. Hi, my name is Amanda, she said cheerfully. Then she wrinkled her nose. Hi, my name is Laura. Maybe not. Her smile turned down. Nothing seemed right. Nothing felt right. I don't think American kids will like me, she worried as she began to brush her teeth. Hi, it is, she said to the mirror with her mouth full of toothpaste. The next morning, when Yun Hye arrived at school, she found a glass jar on her desk with some pieces of paper in it. Yun Hye took one out and read it aloud. Daisy. That's my baby sister's nickname, but she said you can use it if you want, said Cindy, who sat next to her. Yun Hye took out the rest of the paper. Tamela, she read. I got it from a storybook, said Nate. She was smart and brave. Yun Hye nodded and unfolded another piece. Wednesday? Yeah, you came here on Wednesday, said Ralph. Thank you for your help. A smile spread over Yun Hye's face. Ralph quickly said, We'll put more names in it. You can pick whatever you like, or pick them all, and you'll have the longest name in history. Now, what do you think about her classmates giving Yun Hye a name jar? It's kind of nice of them. At 3 o'clock, the bell rang for the end of the school day. Yun Hye looked out the window and saw it was sprinkling. It's the same rain, she thought, but in a different place. She watched other kids leaving in groups. Hey, a familiar voice called out to her. Yun Hye turned around to see the curly-haired boy again. I'm Joey, he said. And you? Don't you have any name? Yun Hye thought for a moment. Well, I can show you, she said, and took out the small red pouch. She pressed the wooden block on the ink pad and then stamped it on a piece of paper. This is my name stamp, she said. My grandma gave it to me. In Korea, I can use it as a signature when I open a bank account or write a letter. And whenever I miss my grandma, I use it to fill a piece of paper. Want to try it? She offered the stamp to Joey, and he carefully inked the stamp and pressed it hard on the paper. The red characters gleamed against the whiteness of the paper. Wow, that's beautiful, Joey said. Can I keep the paper? Sure, Yun Hye said. And then the two of them shared her umbrella as they walked to the school bus. So, this is how you write Yun Hye's name in Korean. Does it look different than it might be written in English? Every day, the jar got fuller with more names, and Yun Hye read them all. She found a few names she liked. Miranda, Stella, Avery. They sounded interesting. I hope you choose the name I put in, Marco told her at snack time. I put in 3 more, said Ralph. Madison, Park, and Lex. They're my favorite street names. Maybe you should close your eyes and draw a name, Rosie suggested. Ralph frowned. That's silly. What if she doesn't like the name she draws or pulls out of the jar? Well, we didn't get to choose our names when we were born, did we? Rosie argued. Everyone thought about that. When Eun Hye got home from school that day, her little brother ran to give her a letter. It was from her grandma. She opened it quickly. It said, To my Eun Hye, I hope you are enjoying your new school and new friends. Be sure to help your mother and your little brother. Here the moon is up, but there the sun is up. No matter how far apart we are, and no matter how different America is from Korea, you'll always be my Eun Hye, your grandmother forever. Eun Hye took out her wooden stamp and filled the paper with it. She thought for a long time in front of the bathroom mirror. What do you think Eun Hye is thinking about right now? On Saturday, Eun Hye walked to Mr. Kim's store. Mr. Kim was helping a customer, but he looked up and greeted her. Hi, Eun Hye. Hello, Mr. Kim, Eun Hye replied. She felt as if she was back in her old neighborhood in Korea. Hey, said the customer, turning around. It was Joey. Your name is Eun Hye? He asked her, with his eyes open wide. Eun Hye looked quickly at Mr. Kim, then turned to Joey. She nodded slowly. Yes, it's pronounced Eun Hye. And it means grace, Mr. Kim added. Eun Hye, Joey said slowly, and this time perfectly. It made Eun Hye smile. I'll have it ready for you tomorrow, said Mr. Kim to Joey. Thank you, Mr. Kim. See you Monday, Eun Hye, Joey said to her. He left before she could ask him why he was at the same store. On Monday, Eun Hye came to class early to look at the names one last time. But the name jar wasn't on her desk. Instead, there was just a single piece of paper with a name on it. Eun Hye slipped it in her pocket. Where's your name jar? Ralph asked as soon as he saw it was gone. I don't know, Eun Hye said. It wasn't on Mr. Kokotos's desk or on any other desk. And it wasn't on the counters or any of the shelves. As other kids arrived, they helped look. Soon Mr. Kokotos came in and Ralph shouted at him, The name jar is gone, the jar with all the names in it. Gone, Mr. Kokotos replied. With a look of concern, he asked Eun Hye, Did you get a chance to read all the names? Eun Hye nodded. She took a breath. I'm ready to introduce myself, she said. Uh-oh, sounds like she's ready to tell everybody her decision. Eun Hye wrote her name in both English and Korean on the chalkboard. I liked the beautiful names and funny names you thought of for me, she told the class. But I realized that I liked my name best. So I chose it again. Korean names mean something. Eun Hye means grace. Grace? Grace in Hye? Shouted Ralph. Everyone tried to say it. Eun Hye, Eun Hye, Eun Hye. Eun Hye said her name again, slowly and clearly. Soon the kids began to say it better, even Mr. Kokotos. They applauded Eun Hye's choice. I was named after a flower, Rosie whispered to Eun Hye. Lots of American names have meanings too, Mr. Kokotos reminded everyone. When the class was dismissed, Eun Hye heard her new friends say goodbye. Bye, Eun Hye. See you tomorrow. Goodbye, Eun Hye. Eun Hye said goodbye and then looked around for Joey. But he was already gone. Eun Hye, come downstairs, Mother called up to Eun Hye. Your friend is here. Eun Hye rushed down to see who she meant. There stood Joey, and in his arms was the name jar. Where did you find it? Asked Eun Hye, breathlessly, like she was running down the stairs, kind of out of breath. Joey looked embarrassed. Well, I took it, but only because I wanted you to keep your own name, and you did. He reached in and pulled out the names. Do you want to keep them? He asked. Thank you. I'll keep them as a souvenir, Eun Hye said happily, to remind her. Then she pulled out the piece of paper from her pocket. Do you want this back? Joey grinned. You could keep it. I'll return the name jar to the class. Maybe you could put some Korean nicknames in it for us. Names with good meanings. I could do that, agreed Eun Hye. I've already got a Korean nickname, Joey said. Mr. Kim helped me choose it. Carefully, he pulled a small silver felt pouch from his pocket. Then he took out a dark wooden stamp with beautiful Korean characters carved sharply into it. He pressed it on the ink pad and then on the piece of paper next to her name. Chinku, read Eun Hye. That means friend. And Chinku smiled back. Aww. Boys and girls, did you notice back in this page, Joey was at Mr. Kim's store? Were you able to figure out that Joey asked Mr. Kim to make him a name stamp? Oh, and he chose the name that means friend. That was really, really nice. Okay, hang tight and let's do some writing. All right, are you ready to do some writing? Go ahead and get your writer's notebook or a blank sheet of paper, and you'll need a pencil and some crayons so you can add a drawing. And you can pause the video here and I'll wait. Now, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. You can write the title of the book, The Name Jar, at the top of your paper. And of course, you can write your name. And we're going to do something just a little bit different. For today's writing, you're going to need to ask someone at home a question or two. So if you want to ask mom or dad or whoever the adult is that's around to watch this part of the video, that's fine. But I typed it all out, and here are the questions. It says, ask an adult at home how your parents decided on your name. If your mom or dad are at home with you now, you can ask them. But if you're with grandma or grandpa or someone else in your family, you'll have to ask them. So ask them, how did your parents pick your name? And does it mean something special? And then what you're going to do is write about your name. So I'm going to get you started because this is definitely tricky. But I'm really excited to read about your names, and I'm going to tell you about my name. So I'm going to get a pen, and I'm going to say my name, n. Is, and you can write this too, but of course you're not going to write my name, but my name is Carl. Carl Raymond. That's my middle name. And my name, I know how my name was picked, and I'm going to write about it. I was named after my two grandfathers. I was named after my two grandfathers. And I'm going to give you another sentence. I'm going to tell you a little bit more. I was named after my grandpa, Carl, because I had a grandpa named Carl, and my grandpa Raymond. So this is going to take some work because you have to ask someone in your family where your name came from, and then you're going to write about it. Now, you might want to use some of the words that I've got in my writing. Let me highlight some of these important words. You might want to say, my name is. I think that's a great way to start out. You might want the word named after, something like that. I'll give you another word. Here's another word you might want to use. How about means? My name means. That might be a phrase you want to use. My name means. Maybe you have a name in another language. Well, then you can talk about that. What does your name mean in the other language? Ooh, I can't wait to learn all about your names. So you go ahead and work on that. And if you want to add a picture, please add a picture. I'm not going to tell you what to draw today. It's completely up to you since this is such a big assignment. But be sure to take a picture and definitely send me your writing because I'm very excited to learn more about you. I miss you, boys and girls, and I can't wait to see your writing. Have a great day.